Welcome to the latest episode of Platform Podcast. Today's guest is Zack Savage. Zack has been absolutely everywhere recently. If you've seen the latest One Trick a Day video with Rashard Johnson, he's in that. If you've watched any of the Ghetto Community videos over the past few years, he's also appeared in a bunch of those. He is sponsored by Gawds brand and has a pro wheel with them. And at the most recent Bitter Cold Showdown, he absolutely killed it. In fact, if you look at all the competition coverage, I would argue he probably had the most footage in all of it, just doing 540 grinds, 540 true spins, 540 alley-oop topsouls, 900s over the box. He went for the hometown hero status hard. On top of that, he's recently moved to Portland, I think it's Portland, and just want to know why he's moved away from his native Detroit, if he's from Detroit. I know very little about Zack, actually. He was in touch with me about 7 years ago to say he was coming to Scotland before Winter Clash and if we wanted to hang out. Unfortunately, my daughter had just been born and I had just zero free time. I wasn't even going to Winter Clash that year. And I don't think he ended up coming to Scotland. I don't know exactly what happened. So I want to talk to him about that. Basically, loads of things I want to chat to him about. I think he's a really interesting guy. The Detroit scene is really strong at the moment. You've got people like Luke Naylor, Brian Weiss, Coda Holt, and just all those guys absolutely killing it. And he's part of that kind of new generation that's taken over from people like Don Bambrick and all the guys that were in like 616 and Night Hardware and the kind of like older generations of Detroit players. So just loads to chat about. I think he's got a really bright future ahead of him, especially if he's going into competition skating, because he really knows how to put on a show for people. Just want to give a quick shout out to all my Patreon supporters. They are listed on the screen now. If you want to join the Patreon, you can do so for as little as £3 a month. I also have t-shirts up for sale. They are £5 for international postage and free if you live in the UK. So if you want to support this channel, pick one up. Now that I've gone with my spiel, cue the music. Oh, there we go. That was the most seamless setup of that has ever happened. Okay. Before Joey Lunger tried to get me, he was like, "Oh, just add me as a contact," and I was like, "Dude, I don't know how to do that." And he had to like talk me through every step. And then even then, he was like, "Right, now just go and find me in your contacts and just add me to the meeting." And I was like, okay." And it was So that I'm starting to feel like a pro. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing great, dude. This is also like only my second time using Zoom, so it's a bit confused on how it works, but we figured it out.
Right. You do know you didn't have to work out this morning. I'm in a relationship. Your muscles won't impress me.
Nah, I do that like every day now.
Right.
Been
Okay.
trying to up my fitness and better my life and stuff a little bit.
Okay. Okay. Try to make better choices. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, yeah, a little bit.
Okay. Why? So you're living in Portland at the moment, is that right?
Yep.
Did Al Delega kick you out of Detroit?
No, so I actually just came out here and visited my buddy Cody Clark before Blade Cup a few years ago. And I stayed in a spare bedroom, and then at the end of the trip, he was like, "Yo, you want that bedroom? I'm looking for a roommate." And I was like, "Give me till New Year's and yeah, I'll send it." And yeah, it just happened. I just kind of wanted to get out of Detroit and get out of my parents' house and, get out on my own. So seen the opportunity and kind of just took it.
Okay. Doesn't Portland have even worse weather than Detroit?
Honestly, yeah, it kind of it was snowing this morning and now it's pretty sunny out.
Okay.
Like it's kind of crazy. Yeah, it's kind
Like,
of like, and then it rains a lot of the year, but
yeah.
Yeah, we make do. We find like parking garages and bring P rails and boxes and stuff and throw sessions in there, or like just find spots in parking garages too and skate those.
Okay. Wouldn't a simpler option just have been to move out your parents and still stay in Detroit somewhere or Michigan somewhere? No?
I mean, yeah, but I also wanted to get out and like explore new places and stuff, you know. Like I don't
Okay.
really know if I plan on staying in Portland like for a long, long time, but like yeah, I'd still want to go out and try like other places and live in like different cities and stuff all over the country. Maybe
Right.
even out of the country one day, who knows?
So is this your first time like living away from home?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Right.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Fair
yep.
enough.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a pretty big move, honestly, but it's been fun.
yeah, definitely. So, right, I've watched your like vlog things that you made before when you were out visiting Cody and you guys were out skating there, and I'm guessing that's where when Richard came and he did the like one trick a day thing, that's where you were doing like the parking lot session undercover, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
yeah.
So what's the crew like in Portland? Like who's skating out there?
Uh, I usually skate with Cody and our homie Sloth. Uh, and then we got Jonathan Copeland. He rips super good. And then you got the Seattle boys, like the Chance of Rain guys. They're only like 2.5, 3 hours out, like north of us. So we
Yeah,
kind of go in between and skate with them a lot too. So
right. Okay,
it's a
I was
pretty
wondering
poppin'
about that.
crew.
Yeah,
Yeah, like Josiah's come down and skate with us a few times, and then Jake Dotson and stuff, and like Alex Sams, all them.
yeah. I mean, yeah, they're all absolutely amazing. Plus I saw you had a few clips in Rain Check as well. So I was wondering how far away they were. Right. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. My stepdad actually goes out there for work sometimes, and I was just visiting him for the day, and then I was like, "Yo, I'm gonna go clip up with my homie Carter real quick."
Nice, like it. Plus, is he not moved away? Is he not in like California or something now? Is that right?
I th yeah, I think he has moved to Cali or LA, I think, something like that. I think he moved
Okay,
away from Seattle for sure, though.
right. Um, right. So clear this up for me. Is your real name, your real second name is not Savage? Is that right?
No, that was a nickname my buddy Luke Rappa gave me when I was like 13, because my real last name is super hard to pronounce when you see it, and
Give me one attempt at it. Waskowicz?
pretty close with Scavenge.
Waskavich. Yeah.
Yeah, and like he just pulled Savage out of the end of it somehow, and was like, "Dude, you're Savage now." And yeah, I just rolled with it. I was like, because I competed at Bitter Cold in like 2013 once, and Matt Micki just butchered my last name, and I was like, ah. So when he came up with that, I was like, okay, I'm gonna roll with this because that's a lot easier to say and remember.
That I mean, that is fair enough. Is it what is it like Polish, Czech, Slovak? Like it feels
Yeah,
like
Polish.
Polish. Yeah, I thought. I
Yeah,
mean, like yeah, like English and American people are going to struggle with that definitely. Right, that makes sense. I mean, you've really rolled with it though because you put it on your pro wheel.
yeah, yeah. That's honestly, so many people just know me like as Savage. Like they just think it's my real last name in rollerblading. So yeah, like my actual last name's on the wheel too. It's on the inside of it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, but
Um.
yeah, more people just know me as Savage and rollerblading, so I just roll with it. It's kind of like a alter ego type thing, I guess, you know?
Yeah. Well, I
I
mean,
don't
it's
know.
one. Yeah, it's one of those things where just the nickname you become more known as that than your actual name, so
Yeah,
it's just easier. Yeah.
yeah.
Um. It's fair enough. So the first time I'd heard of you, you were like appearing in. I don't even know if they were actual like proper Razors promos, but it was like yeah, they were sent in my head. They were Razors edits, and you were skating like SLs or something. Were you ever sponsored by Razors?
Yeah, I was shop flow through Modern with them
Right.
for I think like 3 years or something like that. And
Okay.
then yeah, I just always like they put me in like the group chats on like a few projects, like the shift content project and stuff. And those are like super easy for everyone to film with because they were like, just get this $40 death lens for an iPhone and film it on there, and then just put your clips in this Gmail. And then I'm pretty sure Jeff Howard just edited it all up, and I ended up getting a split section with Derek Henderson, which was pretty tight.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Just film it on your iPhone. That's yeah.
Yeah, so it was just like super easy to just go out with the homies and just be like, here, just film this real quick. And yeah, like just drop the clips into the Gmail and it was all done.
Right. Okay. So did you leave Razors to skate for Gods, or did you quit them before that, or like what happened there?
No, I left Razors to skate for Gawds pretty much
Okay.
because I watched like Luke said in the interview with you, that whole story about him and PJ and stuff. Uh
I can't even remember that now. What was
so PJ actually wanted Luke Naylor to skate for Gawds and was like, you're gonna
I do
skate for
know? Yeah.
Gawds. And then yeah, that all happened. And then that's kind of when Erod was doing shit with them still too.
Hmm.
And like I met him at the first What Year Is It event at Woodward East, I think in like
Okay.
2018 or something. And then we talked about me getting on Gawds. And then once Blade Cup came around, I met Frankie like pretty well. And then yeah, I got on Gawds. He gave me some skates, and I told him, I was like, yo, I'm still gonna skate the Razors in this comp, but tomorrow I'll skate the Gawds. And yeah, that's pretty much just how it happened and how it started.
That's pretty funny. Yeah, I do remember that now because I was like, surely Zach's a much better fit for Gods than you are, like considering the kind of image that they've cultivated so far. Yeah, because um I remember asking Luke about you in the podcast, being like, that kid really like intrigues me. And he was like, oh yeah, he was a proper like naughty kid growing up. He was one of those like little dudes that you would just see outside the skate park, like smoking cigarettes when he was way too young to be smoking cigarettes, and basically just like a little shit. And I was like, I could picture that, yeah, that fits.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate description of how I was when I was younger. I think that's where the name Savage really stuck to me too. Is
Right.
kind of growing up like that.
Okay. So it wasn't just related to skating. I feel like you might have been a bit of a tearaway growing up.
A little bit, yeah,
Right.
yeah, a little bit, but yeah, trying to get away, definitely get away from that now that I'm older and stuff. Not act
Okay.
like was before for sure.
How old are you now?
24.
Right. Because I didn't, it was only when I sent you a message about coming on the podcast that I realized that you'd contacted me before. And you'd contacted me like the year my daughter was born and said you were coming to Scotland to come to Unit 23 before Winter Clash. And I was like, oh, all plans are off. I've literally just had a kid. Like I can't do anything right now. You didn't end up coming to Scotland though, is that right?
No, I didn't. That's probably when I didn't even know where Winter Clash truthfully was, honestly. And I just wanted to go out to that comp so bad. And like, I still haven't been out there. Like, I really need to. That's like on my Blade bucket list, is to go out there and experience that for sure. Like, it looks like such a fun time.
This
But
year, particularly, that course would have suited you perfectly because it wasn't that dissimilar to the Bitter Cold course.
yeah, like
It had
that.
a lot of grind options and a lot of like disaster options and a lot of like sub box things going on. There was yeah, it was
Yeah, that whole park, like even the old course, like I just, yeah, everything they do, like the stuff they build, they still like do the kind of like the old school, like I guess like early, later 2000s contest stuff where they just build gnarly obstacles that
yeah.
aren't going to be there forever. And same thing they did at Bitter Cold this year, which was super fun because going back to my home park and not being there for a year and then getting to skate it and skate all new stuff almost too. That was a lot of fun to do too.
Yeah. So oh right, so you've lived in Portland for a year now.
Yeah, a little bit over a year now.
Okay. So what have you been doing with yourself since you've been there?
Honestly, just working and like trying to figure out life. Like, I honestly didn't get to skate as much as I wanted to last year because my brother Luke Rappa passed away, and it kind of like I grew up skating with him side by side, and like once he passed, I kind of lost a lot of motivation to skate and stuff. And yeah, I just like kind of just been working and trying to figure myself out here and get my feet on the ground. And now, like, I was working midnights the first year I was out here, so that was just brutal on me. Working
Yeah.
at FedEx, like, yeah, it was terrible. But now I got a better job and stuff. I'm working a regular day schedule, and it's like things are getting a lot better out here, and I'm actually starting to enjoy it, getting to skate more, and hopefully going to be filming more stuff out here and getting some projects out soon.
Nice. Plus, when you're working like antisocial hours or you're finishing late, like I remember from working in like bars and nightclubs, you'll just lose days because you get to bed late, you don't wake up until late, and then you're like, oh, cool, it's the middle of the afternoon. I've just today's a complete write off, and then that just turns into like a pattern, and it's not good. Um,
Yeah,
what was I gonna say?
uh, I I was gonna say I was waking up at like midnight and or midnight or like 1 a.m. and having to go into work till like 9 a.m. and after that, I would just have like no motivation to want to go skate. All I'd want to do is just go home and go to bed, really.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can imagine. So how long have you been on Gods now?
Since 2018, so 5 years now.
So quite a while, and you guys have done trips and stuff because
Yeah, yep. We've done the Miami trip as a team. We always try to meet up at kind of like contests and stuff, and or like meet up in film promo and stuff if we can get everyone together. But
so how's it been going so far? With it seems like as a brand they're doing all right because they've not been going that long and they've released a bunch of skates. Like Frankie's obviously had several skates. Michelle Prado's had a skate. Tim Franken was like, well, Frankie's the most recent one to a pro skate, but before that, Tim Franken obviously had one. Then there's the new team one that's out. So it seems like there's regular boots coming out. You've they've made quite a bit of content as well, and it seems like what's it like from the perspective of being a rider for the brand?
right now I'm loving it. Like I love how many skates we're pushing out, and like I love all the support that the company's getting from everyone. And like we got a really good following, and like I feel like people that like like the God skates and skate them, they just like the company as a whole, and like it's kind of got like that certain vibe to it, you know. And like I really like how much stuff we're pushing out and how we're starting to expand into like different styles of skates too, like with the hard shell, like the Franken and the team skate. Like I really love those two boots. Those are I kind of like those a little bit more than the carbon boots now. But yeah, and then starting
How that's what I was going to ask. Like which ones you preferred, like the kind of like Nike influenced Nike. I'm not American. In the UK, we say Nike instead of Nike. Like the kind of Jordan influenced boots or the hard boots. So you prefer the hard boots?
um yeah, no, I prefer the shelled boot, like the
Yeah.
Tim. Yeah, yeah, I prefer those ones right now because I got a pretty good setup with the My Fit Fat Boys, and yeah, I've never really like put a nice pair of like good liners in. Like I've always kind of just rocked stock liners, and then
Yeah.
you know the other boots, the carbon ones, they don't come with liners, so you can't change them out. But yeah, I've been just really loving how they feel on my feet and stuff, and how responsive they've been.
Okay. And what's it been like when you've gone out to trips to like Miami and stuff like that to hang about with the boys? Because it's quite a random group of people. Like you mentioned Paul John, who's like he's quite a strange, eccentric character. Then you've got Frankie, who's like this larger than life personality. You've got Tim Franken, who just always looks stoned out of his mind, like every time I see him. And then you've got like Chino Sin, who's obviously in like Ghetto Community, and they seem like a bunch of like quite rowdy boys. So what's it like when everyone gets together?
I mean, we all just get along super well, and like it's just like we're just another team together, and we all just like session together and feed off each other's tricks and just energy. But you're right exactly about like everyone's personalities and stuff. Like when we did the Miami trip for the FM, I want to say twos, the black and white ones. Uh Something
Yeah,
like that.
I think it was like
The
white and red was first. Is that not right? I can't remember.
not yeah, black and red.
Black and red, black and red. Yeah,
Yeah, and then Prado got the navy and white,
blue and
and then it
white.
was
Yeah,
the yeah, and then it was the black and white. But yeah, when we were out there for that, the first night we were there, Tim picks me up. He's already ready to go to sleep. Tino's already in the hotel asleep pretty much. And then apparently Paul John's running around Miami. He's like, I'm at Lil Pump's party or whatever. And we're like, what the fuck are you talking about? And yeah, he like I had to stay awake till like 3 a.m. to let Paul John into the hotel room because Tim didn't want to stay awake. So yeah, it's
Tim couldn't stay awake.
probably, yeah, he's probably stoned out of his mind. So yeah, you're pretty accurate on those descriptions right there.
Right.
Yeah, because I remember Chino being the first one up because he went down to the gym and stuff, and I was just like, dude, this dude's active. Like,
Okay.
yeah, like
That's pretty funny. Right. Okay. Um, so was like have you spent much time with Paul John? I'm intrigued to know what like he's like as a personality because he seems like whenever I see him being interviewed or people speak about him, they always speak highly about him, like he's a lovely guy or whatever. But then just the persona he kind of puts across in videos and stuff like that, he just seems like wildly unpredictable and all over the place.
yeah, I've spent a good amount of time with him, usually at like contests and stuff, and usually there's after parties, and it can get wild and unpredictable. So I get to see that side of him. But I've also went and kicked it with him at his studio before and just hung out for the night, and we just watched basketball and chilled and had a beer. And I had a flight out of Chicago at like 4 a.m. So I just went to Chicago early, just hit him up and was like, hey, you want to hang out for the night? I got a flight. And then, yeah, we just kicked it. And he's a really cool dude, like down there dude, just welcomed me into his studio and stuff. Let me walk around, take a tour, film it. And yeah, it was super fun. Like he's a really successful dude in the music video game too.
He
So
seems like he's doing well, and he seems to know. He seems like one of those people that just knows everyone. Like, yeah,
yeah, he's definitely tapped in with a lot of people, like walking around his studio and stuff and just being like, oh, Riff Raff shot a music video right here, like on this bench set equipment or gym equipment. I'm just like, yo, that's insane to just see in person, kind of, you know?
yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
Also, he's a bit of a beast in competitions as well. Like he's won and placed top three at quite a lot of like real street events. So
Oh, yeah.
he
At
knows how to
street
turn it on when he
contests,
wants to. Yeah,
yeah, street contests, he could really just throw down. Like he's ready to throw down a trick. Like any spot, he's got a trick at least to try on it. Like he's not scared of any spot, not scared to try it, not scared of the run up, landing, how gnarly it is. Like he's
yeah,
gonna try a trick.
yeah. He doesn't
Like
strike me as the kind of guy that's worried about getting hurt or taking a bail. Yeah,
yeah, so when it comes to contests, like he's a good one to put on the spot and just yeah, he's ready to throw down for it. So
that's pretty funny. Plus, there's new guys in the team as well because you've got oh god, Zach Pollock and who else is on? Pablo Porta, is that right? Is Pablo also on the team now?
Pablo Porta's on.
Yeah,
Zach Pollock's on Roses.
Rosie's, he
I think
is. That's right. I'm getting mixed
yeah,
up.
yeah.
There's isn't there someone else? There's someone else new on Gods, isn't there? Have I imagined this? Pablo.
Um, there's Sammy. She's on the Demi team.
I think that's who I was thinking of. Yeah, because they've like yeah, I'm sure they introduced new people last
And
year.
then yeah, we threw Joe Cap from New York on the Demi team too.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's a pretty young kid and he's up and coming and ripping. Like I really like his skating a lot. He's been starting to do more tricks than stepping out of his same like comfort zone tricks lately, and it's been pretty entertaining to watch. And I like watching him grow in his skating right now. It's sweet.
Okay. So who's your favorite person to hang out with in the Gawds team? Like, were you hanging about the Ghetto Community guys before Gawds, or did that happen around the same time or after? Because I can't figure out if you knew Chino from before Gawds or if you guys met after you got on.
It was kind of like around the same time. I was still skating razors because I met them through going to the Bashi Pope contest in New York.
Right.
And I kind of just met Jordan, the guy that runs Ghetto Community, Jordan Baez, through he just filmed clips of me and sent me them on Instagram. And then one day he just did I think he did like a best fish brain contest on Instagram for a Ghetto Community hoodie. And I did like a hurricane fish brain on the extension wall thing at Modern that I did the 5 true top horn on at Bitter Cold.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just won the hoodie and then just started repping GC really. And it just came about that Chino also started skating Gawds and I skated for GC. So yeah, we kind of just both like are on the same teams and stuff. And yeah, it's kind of weird coincidence that kind of happened at the same time. But yeah, like I first met the Ghetto Community crew a little bit before I was on Gawds, I'd say.
Right.
Probably like maybe a year before, but we really started kicking it like exactly around the same time. Honestly, I think it actually was at the same what year it's an event that I really kicked it with them for the first time and talked to Erod about getting on Gawds. So that was actually pretty cool to think about now.
So like is Chino one of the people you're like closest to in the team, or is there like other people you've got more in common with, or like because
I'd say probably
I feel like
Chino.
Right.
Yeah, probably Chino because we're both pretty young and like we both are on the two of the same teams. So like yeah, I like me and Chino also like we'll FaceTime each other every now and then and like just check in on each other on some regular shit. And yeah, like sometimes I'll do that with Tim or like do that with Frankie, but like both of them are just so busy. Like they're not gonna sit on the phone and just chop it up for a while, you know?
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Like, what was it like hanging about with the Ghetto Community guys? Because I saw that you'd appeared in a bunch of their edits and stuff. And Jordan, like I've seen the podcast with Jordan. He's, you know, it sounds like he gets himself in and out of trouble. He's like into like doing the stunt bikes, like the illegal stunt bikes in New York City and stuff like that, and like
yeah,
like dragging those around and getting chased by the police and, you know, busting wheelies wherever he can. I feel like he's someone who's always just getting himself like, yeah, up to mischief, basically.
yeah, Jordan's a wild dude. Like he's pretty entertaining to hang out with for sure. Like
I can imagine, yeah.
I remember there's this one time we were driving through New York somewhere. I think we were in like Brooklyn or the Bronx or something like that. And there's like this tweaker that was in the road just like yelling at people's cars and stuff. So Jordan, when he got up to him, he rolled his window down and was like, "Come here." And then the guy like puts his head in the window and Jordan just slaps the shit out of him and was like, "Get off the fucking street." And like, yeah, I was like, dude, that has got to be the most New York thing I've ever seen in my life. Like,
yeah, yeah, definitely.
yeah, I'm honestly really close with Jordan. I probably check in with him almost daily now and stuff. And we honestly play video games together almost every night. And yeah, we got a really strong connection. He's been begging me to come out there and film another section with him he's coming out with a video of the GC team soon. And he's like, he keeps telling me, he's like, I'm not dropping it till you got a section. And I was like, I got to make some time. And like, I got some other stuff I got to work on. But yeah, I'm going to try to make some time for it, or at least send him some clips and stuff, let him throw it together.
Yeah. That's pretty, like, they have put in so much work in the past few years. I feel like a month doesn't pass where they've not got some kind of edit out or a new item of clothing or something. Like when it comes to DIY ethic, and what I feel like, yeah, they're putting in a lot of graft. So fair play to
Yeah,
them. And it seems
yeah,
like
I
they've got,
love it. It's like a real, I feel like it's like a real street, kind of just like more than skating, like it's a real like streetwear kind of vibe. Cause like just the name Ghetto Community that could appeal to like
yeah.
so many different demographics, you know? So,
Plus, I feel like as an outsider, as someone that's not from New York, hanging out with them, I feel like you would get to see a side of New York that you wouldn't like. It's like anything with skating. Like if you go and hang out with locals, you get to witness what it's like essentially to be a local there for a while. Like you get immersed in their world. Whereas if you go there just on a skate trip, you don't get that experience. It's not the same thing. I feel like
yeah,
if you're hanging about with their crew, they're taking you to places where you probably, if you went with your friends, or you wouldn't even find out about it with your friends because they just don't tell people about those spots or whatever, or you just wouldn't be welcome in those areas. Like,
yeah, like there definitely is that. Like I've taken when I first started going to New York, I actually stayed with Bashi Pope, and I didn't even know the dude. Like I just went to his contest, and then I was like, I want to go to New York again. I'm gonna hit this dude up. Stayed with him, and then uh after that, yeah, I just started kind of. I went out there with the homies and like brought my homie Art, Luke Naylor, and B Weiss came with me 1 year to Bashi Pope, and yeah, we literally stayed in Brooklyn and like couldn't really find spots or like know what to do and stuff. And it was a whole different vibe than skating with like Jordan and hanging with the Ghetto Community crew. Cause like I've never really done the touristy stuff in New York or like wanted to do it. Like I've been to Times Square. I can spend like 5, 10 minutes there and I get sick of it. That place
yeah,
stinks. Like, yeah, there's really nothing to do but spend money and smell hobo piss. And like, yeah, like I've never seen the Statue of Liberty, any of that. Like I've literally done what you just said and just kind of lived in New York for like the amount of time I was there, just like I was a local or something like that.
that's what I mean. Like I've been to New York and done the tourist thing, but it's different when you go to cities and you hang about with people and they're like, this place is a great coffee shop. Like this is where the locals go. This is where we get our sandwiches. Like this is like, don't go there. You're gonna get ripped off. That like if you go 3 streets that way, everything's triple the price. Like go here, like stuff like that. You can't buy that kind of experience. Or yeah,
Yeah,
like they'll just be like, the most amazing spot is 2 streets that way. Whereas if you were there with your friends, you could have even had like an
you would have never
Airbnb in
found
that
it.
block and never found it. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember there was one time I was out there hanging out with Jordan and I actually had cornrows in my hair when it was like longer and it
Right.
was like 2 in the morning and I was like, yo, I'm gonna walk to the store and get a beer real quick, blah blah blah. And he's like, no, you're not. Those Jamaicans across the street are gonna see you with the cornrows and beat your ass. And I was like, yeah, you're probably right. I'm not gonna be walking around at 2 a.m. around here.
You're like,
Yeah, I thought that
Jordan, do you want to come to the store with me? I need a hood pass.
right.
I need, yeah.
Right. I need the pass. No, it was funny. Yeah, he's always like kind of just looking out and treat like every time I'm out there, he kind of just treats me like I'm a local. He's just like, yo, we're gonna go to this spot I know of, blah blah blah. Like I've even rode bikes with him one time to pay his phone bill. So like
What?
yeah,
As
like
in motorbikes or like push bikes?
nah, just like bicycles and stuff, and
Right.
we were like trying to do wheelies on them and stuff, going down the street.
Right.
He's
Okay.
trying to teach me how to do all that. I can't do all that stuff.
All right. That's what I was going to ask. I was going to ask if you've ever had a shot of any of his motorbikes.
I've messed around on dirt bikes and stuff before, but like I've never really been good at like the street ride and wheelie tricks
Yeah.
and all that. Like, but yeah, I'll get on a bike and I can ride it pretty good, but I'm not popping that thing up.
Right, right, okay. Yeah. That would be my fear. They'd be like, do you want a shot? And you're like, yeah, I really want a shot. And then I don't know, you fall off it or break it or something. You're like, shit, I've just broke your bike.
Yeah, like I'll get on, but I know my limits. Like, especially if it's someone else's bike, like I'm not gonna do anything where I'm gonna drop it. So
Yeah, yeah. Um so yeah, it seems like you've spent like a fair amount of time out there in New York. Like, what's like? Obviously, it's a different kind of feeling to skating in and around Detroit. Although I feel like Detroit's less hectic than New York, but Detroit's also got a reputation. I mean, Detroit had like the highest murder rate in America for several years. Like, it's also got this really strong reputation as being a tough area.
Yeah, New York, I'd say it's just more busy, and like a lot of the cooler spots are kind of like do it first try, or you're gonna be chasing security around the building and stuff, making them do laps, and then you get one more try before they can get to the other side real quick.
Yeah.
And yeah, like New York, it's more like busy, get it done. Detroit, it's more like, all right, let's just skate, and like you got to kind of watch your back and stuff, and like see your environment and know where you're at sometimes, know what you're around. And like, yeah, New York is kind of more just like security is all you got to worry about. But it's kind of funny when you're with the Ghetto Community guys, they talk a lot of shit to the security guards and make it
Yeah.
a funny time. And like, honestly, they never really get the chance to kick us out because they're just too busy talking shit back and forth that we're just gonna keep skating while they're arguing.
Plus, there's a big group of them, so I imagine they would keep, if a security guard did come out, they'd keep them quite busy just by the shit talking and like running their mouth and basically winding him up and getting on his nerves. That you've got a good
Yeah,
few other tries while he's
yeah, he's
preoccupied with him.
threatening to call the cops and stuff, and you guys they'll just be like, dude, the cops ain't gonna come out here for some dude skating. Like, we're gonna keep skating. Don't waste your time, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
they got better things to worry about.
So you said Jordan wants to get you out to film a section, but you said you have other stuff you're working on. What other stuff are you working on?
Um, Honestly, I could just want to put out like something like I want to just film for like a year and just put out just another street section. I feel like it's been a while since I've put one out, so I want to just really work on one and kind of like all my other sections. I've kind of just let other people edit them and choose the music. Like I kind of give hints of like give them a few songs of what I'd like, but like I really don't go along the editing process with them and stuff. And like I kind of just want to work on something and film it and kind of edit it myself and just make it like more of a really my best project that I've come out with, you know.
Okay.
Like
When was your last full street section? I can't even remember.
I want to say 2020
Okay,
was
so
my
so
last
quite
one. So it's been,
quite a
yeah, it's
while ago,
been a
yeah.
little bit, maybe 2021, but yeah, I think it was 2020 I dropped the last one.
Right.
But yeah, it's been a little bit for sure. Uh, no, I did drop one in 2021 with Hawk Trackler, a little promo for those black and white Frankies
Yeah, remember
again.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that was honestly the most recent. That or the Ghetto Community one in New York, that might be. I honestly can't
That
remember
was the one I was thinking
what
of. That's what I
yeah,
thought.
I can't
Like, because
remember
I
what
don't I
order
don't
they
count the
came out
promo. I
in.
count that as like, yeah, I just count that as like the
That's
kind of,
not like yeah, that was filmed in 2 days. So like that's not an edit that actually like I took my time with and stuff.
yeah.
But yeah, I think the last one I really took my time was either my 2021 that I just put out myself once. I think Luke filmed it and I edited it, but I was trash at editing back then and I had no idea what I was doing. It's not that great in my opinion, but I think it was that one or the Ghetto Community one. I think I dropped them like within 2 months of each other or something like that. So
Right. Okay.
yeah, they weren't too far apart from each other.
That's fair enough. Plus I feel like in that space of time as well, you've just been hopping around doing a bunch of contests. Like
Yeah,
I feel like
I love
most
competing.
major events in America, your face seems to pop up on the screen at some point.
Yeah, I love competing and like it's just I grew up playing hockey and like all other kinds of sports and stuff. And before I rollerbladed, I was like a AAA hockey player. and stuff on travel. And yeah, I kind of just didn't want to listen to a coach anymore and gave it up for rollerblading because I was like, dude, I don't got to listen to nobody. I can just do what I want, go to the skate park, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, that's like, I've just always liked competing and like just had the drive to compete and stuff. And I just feel like competing, you really get the chance to show off your best on the spot. And it's just like, you're not on Instagram. Like, who knows how many tries it took you to get that trick to look that way or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
in a contest. Like, do you got it or not? Pretty much, you know.
Yeah. I
And
do
like,
find that like really funny when people get that false impression of someone and they think, oh, like they're amazing, or even I don't know, you like for example, you even if you bump into someone in real life and they're like, oh God, I saw this thing of you, I saw this, and you're like, yeah, but what you don't realize is like it took me like an hour to get that. Like I was working my ass off for it, like my clothes were soaking wet by the end of it. Like take it like, oh,
yeah,
you did that really well. But then when you're in that set and it's like, yeah, but how consistent can you be? Can you land at first try? Can it's all it like
that's yeah, that's exactly.
most people can get a trick after 2 hours. If you're not getting it after 2 hours, you can't do the trick full stop.
Yeah, like when I actually did the 540 true top horn I did at Bitter Cold, I did that first try. And I actually did that like 2 years before that, but it took me like an hour and a half to land. And I've never tried it since then either. And like somehow this, when I tried it at Bitter Cold, I was just like, you know what? I did a five true topsoul uh in like the heat before it, and I was just like, you know what? I wanted the 450 backstab it, but I was just like, no, I'm just gonna try the true top board and see what happens. And yeah, I ended up lacing it, and I was just like, dude, there is no way I just did that. Like, it, that trick felt so good to do. But it's kind of exactly what you're talking about with the like on Instagram, but then again in contest thing, like, do you got it on the spot, you know?
That's what I was going to actually ask you about this. I was having an argument with Tom Moyes about this because he put up a couple of your clips. So you do a 540 alley-oop topsoul one way, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you do, I thought you were going for 540 true topsoil, but you're doing it with the other foot.
Mm-hmm.
Or was that what you were going for? Or were you
Yeah.
going for 540 true topsoul?
No, I was going for the top soil, true top, whatever kind of it
Okay.
landed in. I wanted the top soil, like just
Right.
to like kind of get the little steez it out, you know? And but yeah, it's like I seen the video Tom Moyes put out, the little YouTube short, and
Yeah.
I don't really know what my switch in regular is. I kind of anything I spin
Oh
to the
no,
right,
it's what you
yeah,
instinctively go for. But what I was going to ask is, would you say they were both your natural feet? Like, as in, because
yeah,
I feel like I do it the
just
same way as you. I alley topsoil with my left foot, but I topsoil with my right foot, and I wouldn't call
yeah.
either of them switch because I don't do it the other way.
Yeah, that's pretty much the same thing. I'd say anything spinning to the left would be regular for me. Doesn't matter
Right.
what foot I'm grinding on, but if I spin to the right, then it's switch. And
So
it still doesn't matter what foot I'm grinding on. Like
okay.
it's gonna be 10 times harder just spinning to the right. So like
Right.
I kind of base my switch in regular off my spin and not my grind foot.
Okay. So they're both natural. So basically, what you're telling me is I was right and Tom Moyes was wrong, and neither of those were switch. So that's fine. That's all I needed to know.
Yeah,
You've settled an
yeah.
argument, and now I'm going to rub it in his face next time I speak to him. That's fine. That's fine. That's all I
Yeah,
need to know.
it honestly took me a long time in skating to decide what was switch and what was regular. Because like growing up playing skate with the homies, I was like, I don't know what to call this switch. I honestly grew up and I learned everything left footed, and then I
Okay.
learned that spinning to the left was just kind of easier to lock into certain tricks, and certain tricks I do better with the right foot, certain tricks I do better with the left, and
Yeah.
yeah, I never knew what to call switch irregular, basing it off the grind or what foot you're grinding off of. So yeah, once I figured
Yeah.
out like anything spinning to the right, that switch like automatically. So
That's pretty fun. Actually, that I had a similar experience where all the tricks I spun clockwise. So I just thought that was my natural spin. And I would always 540 that way. And then after a couple of years, I just tried it the other way once and landed it first time. And I was like, oh, that feels so much more, that feels like the easiest way. And then I just stopped doing it the other. And I realized for the first 2 years I'd been skating, every time I did an air or a spin, I was doing it unnatural. That was the only way I'd ever tried. So it's weird when you figure out those little quirks about your skating that you're like, this doesn't even feel right. Why have I been doing it this way for so long and finding it so difficult, and then trying it the other way and you're like, oh, that just works straight away. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, like it definitely is a fun time. Like especially like it gets weird with switch ups though. Like sometimes on a switch up I feel better spinning to the right than I would like to the left. And like coming out of tricks sometimes it's the same way too. Like if I want a full cab out, like I would much rather full cab out of a true topsoul, like rewind 3 out than go the hard way out. And like that's spinning to the right still kind of. And yeah, sometimes I just get confused in my own skating too. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to do the trick and not care if it's switch or regular, or not really put the label on it. I'll just name the trick name, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Or, well, you get some people like Richie Eisler doesn't believe in natural and unnatural. He just calls it left foot or right foot.
Yeah, kind of like the same thing, but left spin, right spin.
Yeah, he's like, why does one have to, if you call it that, it makes it harder in your head. Just tell yourself you're just doing it with the other foot, and then you're basically tricking your brain into thinking it's more normal. And I'm like,
I've tried to think like that before about certain tricks too. It's just like, yo, it's the same thing. Just put your feet there.
yeah, yeah. Doesn't always work out in practice when you actually go for it, and then you're like, no, that is just hard and hurts, and I'm just getting broke off now.
Right. Yeah, there's certain tricks that I've tried and then just been like, nope, that one's just like a little bit too weird and stuff. Like it's weird. Like I'm super comfortable trying a 540 true topsoul on like a quarter pipe, but if I try two top acid, it's just like a whole different ball game to me. And like I just somehow lose myself in the air and in the spin, and it's just like, what the hell? Like I'm just turning my foot a little bit to the other direction, you know?
But you're also kind of crossing your legs, so that complicates it. I feel like I always prefer like unity and top acid trick. Like someone once asked me, they're like, are you a true top acid person or a true topsoul? And I was like, oh, true top acid every time. Like true topsoul is like properly dangerous. Like your leg can sweep out the way. You've got nothing to save you. I was like, with true top acid, you're just like there. And he's like, you're that person then. Like I feel like he's like, there's two types of people in the world.
I feel like I'm the opposite. Yeah. I feel like I'm the opposite because I feel like on the top acid or true top acid, especially on a rail, the way your legs are bent, your sole foot misses and your other foot goes that way. That's just not fun to cross your legs like that on a rail. You're just
pretzeling the rail, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I've always felt like the true topsoul is a little safer to me, especially if you can get them, like learn them with true topsoil, because then it kind of more feels like a back royale.
Yeah.
And like it feels a little easier to just, save yourself from that than it would be to be completely turning around and having your legs all pretzeled up.
Yeah, true. I don't have bendy legs though, so anything true topsoil, like soul wise, just feels rife with danger, because you get people like Austin Paz or whatever who can really bend their knees and just like sit down if they miss, whereas I just like slap to the ground instead, and that's not a fun time. Yeah, terrible technique. You mentioned Bitter Cold. You were in every any video that came out from Bitter Cold this year. It felt like you had like 20 tricks in it. Like that must have been the weirdest experience for you. Like every time someone put a Bitter Cold out, you're like, I've got half the clips in this video.
Yeah, it was pretty cool to watch, but I feel like I did a lot of my tricks a little bit too early in that contest. I kind of wasted a few of them in the quarterfinals and semifinals, and then in the finals I was kind of left like, well, what the hell do I try now? And I decided to try 900 alley topsoul. And Yeah, I kind of sat on my leg weird when I went up and just slammed straight down to my shin and like sat on my foot all weird. And then I tried to get up and skate again after that, but when I put the weight down on my foot was just shaking back and forth. And I was like, yeah, there's no way I'm gonna hold a grind right now, so I'm not gonna half-ass it and hurt myself more.
So that's what is that what you were trying when you like double shinned the sub box like on top of the quarter?
Yeah,
That was it,
yeah,
900
like
alley oop topsail.
900, 810, whatever the hell you want
Whatever
to
the
call it.
whatever the like the degree of the 360 is. That's okay. That's nuts. And right,
There's actually I tried it like 4 years ago at they had Too Cold to Blade outside one time. It was a contest that they I think the Southern Scum dudes used to do. And they had that at Modern and I actually tried that before, but they had a different run up to it at the time. And there was one attempt where I actually locked it, but I just went straight up and just kind of bashed down and like my legs blew out right when I hit the coping because I went too high up on the spin. But there was one point where my feet actually touched the coping and I was like, oh shit, this is possible. Like I could actually do this trick one day.
do
But
you
yeah,
wear
it's
do you
actually
wear shin guards?
I do now. And what sucks about Bitter Cold was I got the knee and shin G forms so I can wear them under my pants. And like
Yeah,
there's like a 3 inch gap in between the top of my liner and my where my shin guard starts. And
of course there
it
is. Of course there
yeah,
is.
the coping pinpointed that spot right and like that's right where I hit.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, of course. And then when I sat on my like there was another fall before that where I think I tried 3 acid on like the fly box to down ledge thing, the big one. And I just completely missed and ate shit. And I bruised the hell out of my heel. And yeah, that also was like not fun to skate with after. I'm still dealing with this heel injury right now. Like, I haven't really been skating as hard the past month because I don't want to re injure it. And
Yeah, and they take
yeah,
forever to get better. Even if you just like, I don't know, even if you like hop off the step outside your house, whatever, you're like, oh no, oh
yeah, like
no,
I'll
it's
be
hurting
walking
again.
down yeah, I'll be like walking down the street or something, like going to the gym, and I'm like, damn, my heel is like hurting. Like, this just sucks. When is this thing gonna feel better, you know?
Yeah, it takes forever because basically everything you do is re-traumatizing it. Even just walking to the shop is just is inflaming it again. So you're like, great. Um, that's what I was going to ask because loads of people were like, he's killing it. He's got all this footage and all these things and all these like competition montages. Why is he not placed? So that's what I wondered, like how I'd heard from a few people that you got injured in the finals, but I was wondering like how soon into the finals was it like right at like when did you go for the 900 alley oop top? So was it like right at the start or
It's kind of like in the middle of the finals, and like
okay?
before that, I already felt like I wasn't doing that great in the finals, and like I was like, I need to do something big, like and like kind of one up the two or three big tricks that I already did. Like I was like, okay, this is the finals now. I need to try to up the game, like. And yeah, that's just what my head went to. And it's kind of a bad decision. Like I went back into the back of Modern and like took my skates off and stuff because my leg was hurting so bad. And yeah, I didn't get to really see the end of the comp or anything, which kind of sucked. But it was cool to see all the footage and be like, yo, these dudes like threw down. Cause like
Yeah.
also during the comp, you don't get to really watch or like notice too much of what's going on around you. You don't get to see everything, you know.
Oh yeah, you're
But
so busy like focused on like what am I gonna do next? Like looking you're looking for your opportunities that you're just like wait you're like I wish they would hurry up and get the hell out of my way so I can go for that. You're not like concentrating on what they're landing. Yeah.
yeah, and like honestly, this year, I gave up drinking and stuff, and like it was the first time being at a contest and being like laser focused on like wanting to win and stuff because it was honestly like a childhood dream of mine and Rappa's to be able to compete and like actually show what we could do in Bitter Cold, and like him not being able to be there but me going there and like being able to skate still, like, yeah, like it was really like kind of, I really wanted to like put my best out there in that comp, like that I could.
I definitely think you did, and I think you would have been proud. Like you put on one hell of a show, and it felt like
I actually took his skate there with me, and before my first run, I put it in the middle of the course and stuff too. So he was on the course with the run. His ashes, they're on my neck right now, but usually I keep them in my back there in his skate.
nice.
Yeah, take that thing everywhere with me, wherever contest or whatever.
I've seen a photo of you. I can't. Was it Bitter Cold? There was somewhere I
I
saw
think
you.
it's
You
probably the
posing.
one I posted
Yeah,
yesterday.
yeah.
Yeah.
So see the footage that everyone see. I'm assuming some of the massive tricks that you did at Bitter Cold Showdown that were in those edits. Not all of them were in the finals. Some were. I feel like people get a misguided perception when they see the competition edits going, oh, why did that guy not win? He did all those tricks, and it's like, yeah, but you don't know if they were in the finals. Like those could have been.
A lot of them weren't. That's
Yeah,
why I feel like I didn't place, because I skated good during like the day. I was very consistent. I did a lot of big tricks, but when it came to the finals, I think, in my opinion, I landed like two, maybe three cool tricks, and he's got Naylor, Kudo, Potier, Montre, all these dudes just whipping themselves around. Joe Atkinson. And I was just like, I was kind of just like, yo. And then
yeah.
I was like, I need to do something big. Like, yeah.
It sounds like you did do big tricks. You just blew your load too
I,
early. Like I
yeah,
feel like you
yeah.
should just
That's what I was saying earlier.
yeah,
Like, I
just done
kind of,
enough to qualify for the finals. Not brought out the big boy tricks yet. Then as soon as you knew you
yeah,
were safe for the finals, then you're like, oh, now I can. I don't have to go
yeah,
for nine alley up top, so I can just do the other stuff I had planned.
yeah. I kind of wanted to plan stuff for the contest like that and like be like, yo, these are finals tricks. Don't do them. But
Yeah,
like during the heat of the moment and stuff, I was just like, nope, I'm doing it. Like, yeah,
yeah.
I'm going for it. And like, I honestly kind of wish I didn't land some of them first try, but it's cool. Like, it's cool that I did. Like, it really shows I could put it on the spot. And like, I was proud of that too. Like, being able
That's
to
what
do
yeah.
that gnarly of a trick on like in front of that many people on a like first try too. Like that was a really good feeling to be able to be like, yeah, I can do that, you know.
Yeah. It definitely showed what you were capable of, and the fact that so many people, after seeing those, thought you deserved to be in the top three. Like that is how many contests do you get where people who aren't on the podium get talked about?
Right.
It's not that common. There's usually an argument about what the order should be, but it's never, if you're not in the top three, people don't tend to talk about you that much. And the fact that
There's
so
been
many
a oh sorry, go ahead. My
no
bad.
no what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say there's been a few comps where like I didn't place and I personally was just like, yo, I kind of feel like I should have, and like seen the edits and everything after and was like, still kind of feel like I should have. And
I think
but
that's
like,
quite common. Yeah,
yeah, but this one, like, definitely, I was just like, no, I did kill it during the day, but when it came down to the finals, like, I I wasn't able to do as good as I did the rest of the day, and like, it all really like depends on like how the contest is judged too, because like some contests it doesn't matter what you do in qualifying or whatever all day, like it only matters in the finals and
yeah.
stuff.
Well,
So
that is what it should be. Like anything you do up until the finals, it shouldn't count as soon as you get into the finals, because like if you're judging people on their performance throughout the entire day, that's not fair. What if someone like puts on a masterclass in the final and lands everything first try, and then they don't get the place because the other guy skated better throughout the day? Like that doesn't. It's like
yeah,
in the
like
world. It's like
I
in the
feel
World
like it
Cup.
would have
Like
been
yeah, if
I
you
feel
score
like
the
it would have
most
been
goals,
unfair to place me in that.
yeah. Um,
So I
plus,
feel like,
it's cool that
what
like
do you?
one of your friends won, like a local, like if that is going to be the last Bitter Cold, it kind of seems like it is. It's cool that a local guy took it home.
Yeah, I was like I said, I didn't get to see the end of the comp or like until I seen the footage and stuff, and like I didn't get to see what Luke did, but he turned up once I left apparently, and I was just like, I didn't know who won, like honestly, when they were announcing it. And like people were saying I was gonna place, and I was like, nah, I didn't do shit in the finals. I know I'm not gonna place. Like these dudes were flying around lates and everything they were trying. Like I already knew, you know. But yeah, once they called Luke as the winner, I was just like, what the hell, dude? Like, yo, if I couldn't do it, I am so proud of my boy. Like I wouldn't want anybody else to win but him. Like that's one of my brothers out there, you know. So
That's what I
yeah,
mean.
like
Like,
that
yeah.
was super sick to like be able to keep that title in Detroit. Like especially if it's going to be the last one, because like Luke also kind of lost his closest friend growing up skating when he lost Brett. So like, and it was also one of Brett's dreams to win Bitter Cold one day, Brett Urbis.
Yeah, yeah,
And
I remember Brett. Yeah.
yeah, so like kind of being able to like fulfill that dream of like bringing the Bitter Cold title home to Detroit finally. Like, yeah, kind of really was like a big moment, I feel like, for like us and the history of blading and like what we've been through and stuff, you know?
Oh, and yeah, like you said, I definitely think you guys both did your friends proud. And that is, yeah, when you put it in the context of that, it makes it even more, definitely makes it even more meaningful. Yeah. Um,
Yeah, it was definitely one of the probably top three moments in my blading career for sure.
that's awesome. Um, I also only realized it might even have been today or yesterday. It was definitely this week. I didn't realize Don Bambrick was there and was skating. I thought Don had stopped.
I Don, I don't know. Like I haven't really been able to see Don the past couple of years because he's had a son and stuff, and he's got his daughter, and he's like a full-time family dude now, which
That's what
is
I mean.
super sick.
I
And
just thought he had a bunch of kids and was really busy on
I think
in
he
the
just
domestic
skates in
life.
his free. Yeah, I think he just still skates in his free time when he can and stuff, and he'll still pop out to like events. Like he went to the last Delta City Open and popped out, and he had his little baby boy with him and stuff, and his daughter and his wife, and they just
That
kind
was
of
a
hung
while ago
out.
though. The last Delta
I
City
think that
Open
was
was
2021 or
yeah,
20, yeah, 2021, I think.
that was quite
I
a
think
while
that was the
ago.
last time I seen him. And I had that year I was dealing with a bad injury. I broke both my arms. This one I completely destroyed. And
How?
yeah, there's a clip on my Instagram of it. I tried to jump this huge gap over, and you had to like jump a guardrail, kind of S curve into the run up, and it was wet. It was dark. I was filming with my ex girlfriend, and we just got done with the date, and I just seen this gap, and I was just like, I'm just gonna send it, dude. And like, I even put my helmet on because I was like, this gap is big, and I'm so happy I put that helmet on because I whapped my head off the ground too, but like kind of folded both my wrists under me. This one completely destroyed. This one just got like a little hairline fracture. So I didn't want to be in two casts. So I was like, dude, just put me in like a splint for the other one. I'll be good. And yeah, I had to get surgery on this one, get a bunch of pins put in it and stuff. I had those sticking out of my arm for weeks. Those were actually in my arm during that Delta City. So I didn't skate. I kind of like I think I did best trick that year with Stack and Dough, this local Detroit company
Yeah.
that me and Rappa grew up skating for. Uh yeah, I think we just did best trick and I just watched and judged that. I think I ended up giving it to Stephen Mall. Crazy Steve. He's a skater from Detroit that he made it to the Bitter Cold finals too, but sadly blew his knee out like first
Was he
trick
the
in
guy
the
in the red
finals.
pants? Was he the crazy guy in the red pants with his top off? Who was that?
No, that was I want to say that dude's name's Jesus. He's a little Puerto Rican dude from I think he's from like Miami or he might be from Puerto Rico.
Okay.
But yeah, that dude's sick. I love that guy. I see him at contests all over the place. And but no, Steve is he skated I think he was skating razors in the Bitter Cold. And
Was he wasn't the guy in the big like hockey jersey doing loads of like spins and flips and stuff? No.
no, that was Eli. That's another local Detroit skater that's super sick too. Like he's got a really fun style to watch skating. He's all over the place.
I
Like
just
you
felt
never
like
know what he's gonna
there was a
throw.
lot of nutters at the event just going for it. Yeah.
Yeah, Eli especially. I feel like he's got like a ski. I think he's like skis and stuff too, but like I feel like he's got like a skier style to his skating where it's just like super gnarly and like you never know what he's gonna do, you know?
Yeah. So wait a minute. On one trick, you broke both your arms.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a fun one. Yeah,
Yeah, sounds like it.
that's actually a fun hospital story too, because my girlfriend or my ex wanted to call an ambulance, and I was like, "No, here's my keys. You're driving me." And she drove me to the hospital, dropped me off, and then I was sitting in the waiting room, literally like a T-Rex with my arms on a pillow for like 4 hours. And then I was like, dude, my mom works at a hospital like 45 minutes away. I'm gonna just call her and see if she's at work. So I call her and I'm like, hey, are you at work? Are you guys busy? Can I get a room? And she's like, what happened? I'm like, I'm sitting here like a T-Rex with two broken arms. And yeah, like I ended up getting an Uber and Ubering to the other hospital. And yeah, that was a fun time. It was like 5 hours until I could get it x-rayed and stuff. And I was just in so much pain.
How much does a 45-minute Uber cost?
I don't know. My mom paid for it. Yeah, I have no idea.
Right, okay. So, right. So you're on your way back from a date with your girlfriend. You're like, I'm just going to do this trick real quick in the wet, in the dark, and you break both your arms. How long had you guys been going out at this point?
Like 6, 7 months.
Right. Is she not like, this guy I'm dating
Oh,
is
she was traumatized after that. Like it's kind of the reason we broke up is because she was like, I want you to quit skating, blah blah blah. Like I'm gonna have to take care of you if we like get married and get old. And I'm just like, no, you're not. You gotta go. Like I'm not quitting skating for you. And yeah, that's kind of what led us to breaking up, honestly. Needed
it's
to
like,
happen though.
yeah, it's me or broken bones. I choose broken bones.
Yep. That's part of the game. I love it.
Yeah, I've had those discussions with my partner various times. Although, to be fair, I've deserved it, so that's fair enough. I've excelled myself. I managed to break my pelvis the year my daughter was born. That didn't go down too well. So yeah,
That sounds like a painful one.
I couldn't walk for 2 months. It wasn't great, especially when you're trying to look after a
That's one
newborn
where
baby.
even the recovery part is terrible. Like
Yeah,
broken arms, the recovery is not so bad because it's an arm. You can still walk around. You got another arm, do some daily activities. But yeah, pelvis or something like that. Nah.
yep. Every time
I'm
I
actually
coughed or sneezed, tears just started pouring out my face. Yeah.
I'm actually pretty sure back in January I did something to my tailbone. I never got it looked at, but I smashed it like 2 times within a week, like super bad to the point like when I got up I was like seeing stars and stuff. And yeah, there's like a permanent lump in my back and my tailbone now. And I'm just like, I probably messed this thing up like really bad because like even to this day, like it still kind of hurts. Like if I hit it or like even fall on it weird, like the slightest bit, it's like fire pain in my tailbone.
Also, it's one of those areas that you will inevitably fall on quite regularly. It's like
Yeah. So
it's
two
it's
hits
like
to it in one week was
yeah,
terrible.
but like
It was like
even
all my
yeah,
weight onto it too from like a decent slam down. So it was not fun.
like even just slipping off like a ledge or whatever, you're just naturally going to fall on your ass. Like that's just the way it. So it's like as soon as it's like a
Yeah.
little bit better, you're like, oh, I've set my recovery back a bit. Every time you fall, you're like, great.
Yeah, same thing with the heel.
God, yeah, right. Have you had a lot of bad injuries?
I've had quite a few. Like, that wasn't the first time I've broken this arm. I broke it once when I was like back in like 2013. I was probably like 14 years old or something like that. And I slipped back and completely shattered everything from like here to here. And now when I put my arms out, I don't know if you can really tell, but my left one's a little bit shorter than
You can
my
tell.
right.
Yep, yep, you can tell. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like right when I was like hitting puberty and stuff, and my growth plate just got completely destroyed. And my doctor was like, "Yeah, have fun with this arm. Like, it's not gonna grow right." And yeah, I've probably broken it many more times, like little fractures in the wrist or whatever, because it's just so weak. But I'd usually just treat it like a bad sprain, keep it in a brace, wrap it up, whatever. But now I always try to skate with a wrist guard on this arm at least, because it's just too fragile now, I guess. I've beat it up too much. So yeah, I just kind of
It's one of those
need
ones.
the
If
protection
yeah,
on it now.
yeah, if you break it or start getting repeated strains, it's one of those that it just doesn't.
Yeah,
You don't get
like
the strength back in it. Yeah.
I don't want a career ender from an arm break. That sounds like a weak way to stop skating.
I don't know. It's done it to a few people. Dom Segona basically had to stop because he just couldn't stop breaking. I think it was either his hand or his wrist. And Billy O'Neill basically had to take a year off because he couldn't stop dislocating his shoulder. It's one of these that you think you're like, oh, it's not that big a deal if like I break it or hurt it. But you're like, if it starts
Yeah,
becoming a just a constant issue, like it's
that's why I'm
gonna,
trying to get it before it like becomes that now, like
yeah,
at least try to stop it from happening, give it some type of protection. I've tried
yeah,
skating with both wrist guards on, but one, I just feel like it looks goofy, and two, when you're skating like a handrail and stuff, it's so hard to save yourself and grab the rail. Like you need a free hand to
yeah,
be able to do that. Because like honestly, learning how to fall is the most important thing in skating, in my opinion. If you
yeah.
don't know how to fall, you're not gonna have a good time. You're gonna be eating shit left and right, and you're not going
I've
to want to progress and try handrails or harder tricks or stuff like that because you're going to be scared because you don't know how to fall.
Yeah, skating with two wrist guards is dangerous, especially if you're skating street, because yeah, like you said, you cannot save your like you go to grab the rail, you catch the plastic and you just take a tumble down. If you're skating like a 20 stair handrail, you're going down those stairs. Like
Yeah,
if you
you're
can't grab the
sliding with
rail,
it.
you're going down the stairs. Like that's not
Yeah,
I'd rather split
be
the
able to.
rail or than
Yeah,
like get pitched down a set. No chance. I'd take the split
right.
any day of the week. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take
Um,
the split or like grabbing it and like maybe pulling your shoulder a little bit, but like,
that's
you
what I mean.
know,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd rather take that than a concrete tumble. Those are never fun.
No way. Um, that is grim. So that clears up one thing. I wanted to know the Bitter Cold thing. That clears that up. So like who were your obviously Detroit has got a massive rollerblading history. Like 616 was from there, Night Hardware's from there. They had Big Dan's Importing or whatever was that what it was called?
Uh, I honestly have like no idea too much about like I know a little bit about the history before I started skating, but I never really got into what people did like before me, I guess. Like if they were
Okay.
still pro when I started skating, then I like looked them up and was into them. But like anything really before that, like I'd never really got too into watching and stuff.
So
Like
who was around in the Detroit scene when like you started skating? Were like Brian Murphy and those guys still skating or
I don't think they were skating as like I think they already stopped skating like super consistently when I started coming around. Like
right?
because I only seen them at like certain sessions and stuff. Like never really at the skate park, just chilling. But I'd say Coda Holt was around a lot. Um, Luke Naylor, Don, Brett Urbis, Luke Rappa. Like those dudes were probably the dudes that were around the most when I grew up skating. But old school style, I'd probably say like Jake Roos was
Okay.
my one of my biggest Detroit inspirations. That dude, I just seen him rip every local spot and was like, "Yo, this guy is nuts!" Like, and that's where like kind of growing up, I kind of got an idea of what spots I wanted to hit because I was like, okay, this guy hit this, and this. I want to hit those spots too. And so like I'd use his street sections and like try to find spots and stuff. There's still a few where I found the spots, but I just haven't thought of the trick to do on them yet
Right.
because they are some gnarly spots. And it's like, yo,
Yeah,
you
I can
really got to
imagine.
think about what you're going to do on this.
Yeah. So outside the local scene, like who were you when you were growing up skating? Who were you like? Holy crap! Like that's the type of skating I want to do. Or you're like that appeals to me. That's definitely my thing. What they're doing, I want to do that kind of stuff.
Definitely, I'd say Aragon for sure. Uh, Happy, Montre, Bellino, Bambrick. Probably those are, I'd say, were my top five.
That makes sense. I can definitely see those influences. Also, all apart from Don, Don wasn't really a competition skater. Well, he could be, but for the other guys were like they were quite competitive as well. They liked the
Yeah, like
competition setting.
I've honestly like taken inspiration from everyone that like I've skated with before, and like I'll be doing certain tricks and be like, okay, I kind of want to do it like this dude did in this video, and just like be thinking about how somebody else did that trick on like a spot that is somewhat similar-ish, or like I just like the way they did the trick and was like, okay, I want to learn how to do it this way and make it look like that or something like that, you know? Like I can like I've picked apart like people skating in their sections, especially like Bellino, Montre, Happy, and Aragon. Like those dudes, it's just like, okay, I like the way how they do their tricks and like the style and what they skate and like how big they all go. And yeah, that's just all like appealed to me. So I've tried to, inquire that into my skating, but like also just take inspiration from each of them and not really just straight up copy them.
All right, okay, that's fair enough. Um, oh, that reminds me. So I asked people if they had any questions they wanted to ask you. I know one of them is from a guy called Zach Helsing, and interestingly wanted to know if there's any plans for you to have a pro skate with Gawds. That was one of the first questions that came up.
Um, I think there's like maybe a chance I'll get it soon. Um, I have some ideas, like if I do get a skate, like what I want to do and stuff, and I pretty much already have the idea of like what I would kind of want to do, but like I just don't know what skate I would want to do or whatever or anything yet, or when the time is gonna come, really. So I'm just
Okay.
kind of brainstorming with it right now because I know like eventually it will come if I just keep up the pace I'm at and keep putting out stuff. So I feel like
Yeah.
in due time it'll happen in due time.
I mean, if you keep putting in those comp performances and stuff, definitely. Um, that's quite funny. I was having this conversation earlier with I don't know. Do you know who Rob Kellett is from Australia?
Uh
Used to be
I
on
think
Rems.
I was about to
Uh,
say I think I recognize the name from like an old Rams video, but I
he
don't think
had
I've
a
ever met him or talked to him before.
Well, he was talking. I was talking to him earlier, and he was like, "Oh, haven't you ever imagined like what your dream pro skate would be like?" And I was like, "Oh, this is sound quite funny." I was like, "I never dreamed of that." Do you know what you? And I was like, "That was never my goal. I never wanted to be like a pro skater." I was like, "I wanted to work for Daily Bread magazine," and he was like, "That's pretty funny that you just." He's like, I could tell you exactly what I want my pro skate to be like, and you've not even." I was like, couldn't even tell you a color. Like that's how little I've thought about it. But it's quite funny that you're like, I've got an idea in my head. I know what I
No,
want.
I've pretty much thought out every detail of what I want to do with mine. I'm just waiting for the time to come.
That's how it's good to be prepared because at least when they ask you, if they ask you, you'll have an answer as opposed to being like, I
Right,
don't know.
right. And, might shorten the process too.
Yeah. Oh, right. This is a bit of a boring question, but I've promised I'll ask, so I'll ask. So Daniel Diaz has asked, flat or anti, and why? I feel like you're anti-rocker, aren't you?
I've never skated flat in my life, and I have
Yeah.
no means to want to. It just does not sound fun being able to stick your tricks and just go flying down the rail, your
But you
ledge
like going
or
big, don't you
whatever.
want? Wouldn't you want the option of more speed?
Just up your leg muscle.
That's fair
And
enough.
I've never skated flat. Have no means to want to.
Okay. Even with all the like fancy new frames that you've got now, that doesn't even feel like skating flat. Like you've got so much
I mean, like if
space.
it's on like a power blade frame or something like that, obviously you're gonna skate that flat. But yeah, like no, I just honestly like the fluid fours with the anti setup and or that or creates either or of those frames. But
I mean, if it's good enough for Broscow, like he can't really argue with that logic. They also asked, that's a weird one. What wheel size do you prefer? What?
5890s
What size was your pro
flat
wheel?
5890 flat profile.
That makes that was easy enough. Right. Last question, then I'll let you go. What are your plans for the rest of the year? Are you gonna go to are you gonna be at Spring Cup and Bladen Cup this year?
No, I'm actually going out to down south to hang out with the Montgomery Monsters the week before Spring Cup, and we're going to the Crowder Power Comp in
Ah, okay.
North
That's
Carolina. I think it's in Raleigh, North Carolina,
Raleigh, North
Raleigh.
Carolina. Yeah, April 22nd.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm gonna be out there for that and just hanging out with them. That's my next plan. But yeah, I don't really got too much like planned or know what I'm gonna do for contest this year. I just know I kind of want to get back into like maybe doing the YouTube vlogging stuff. I actually have one sitting on my computer that I'm editing right now that I'll probably upload tomorrow or the next day once I get done editing it. And gonna kick that back off and try to do that a little bit more. But yeah, I really don't have too many plans for contests. Been kind of just wanting to step back from competing and focus on like filming some more stuff and just getting more content out. So that
Yeah.
might be just like the route I'm gonna take this year. But still like bigger events and stuff I might show up to. Like I'm planning on going to BPSO probably if they have it. And Frankie does the FM invitationals. I'll be able to make it to those this year and all that. So like events like those I'll go to. But honestly, I just don't really have a appeal to go to Spring Cup this year.
It's a different kind of contest as well. I feel like if you're wanting
It's not going to be like the type of contest I feel like I'm going to
yeah,
enjoy skating in.
it's more like a kind of community gathering type of event rather
Exactly.
than like a intense
I think of it
competition kind
as
of
like
thing.
a
Yeah.
convention type of thing and like just like a giant convention almost now. Like it's not like it was back in the day.
Yeah. Are there any plans for Gawds this year? Like, have they got any like trips planned or any videos they're working on or anything like that?
Um, I don't know about as a team. I know whatever I'm filming right now, like I went out to LA a few in January and filmed some stuff and visited Coda because he's living out there now, working at them skates and all that. So I was like,
I
"Oh, you're
saw
on the
that.
West."
Everyone's abandoning Detroit. Everyone's getting out of there. Yeah.
Yeah, we're spreading out now. But yeah, I just wanted to go visit him, and I was like, "Dude, you film good. You got a nice camera. I don't really have a filmer up here." And I had some Delta E credits that I got a free flight, so I just went and visited him and stacked a few clips. I think we got like 10 or 12 clips, something like that, of the whole couple days I was there. But yeah, whatever I'm doing with that footage, I'm probably just gonna do something for Gawds with it, or do something for Gawds. Maybe give the leftovers to Jordan so he can put his video out too.
Okay.
But yeah, I really just want to kind of focus on filming this year, and like I still want to compete, but just not really make that my main focus this year. I kind of want to go into making a good project and doing something like for God, like it kind of just for all my sponsors, like God's Ghetto Community, like whatever I do, I'll probably throw them all in there somehow, some way, you know.
Okay. So you're promising us a high grade Zach Savage street section this year. That's what you're telling us.
Yeah, if I can get it done, yeah, if I can
Okay.
keep going out and filming, and I just honestly need to get a camera myself and start filming out here, teaching the homies how to film too. And yeah, once that happens, it's game on.
Like it. All right. Okay. I've taken up enough of your time this afternoon. Thanks very much for agreeing to do this. And yeah, look forward to see what you're bringing out this year. Hopefully a street section. If not, if not, you just need to get traveling more and get start appearing in other people's stuff. Get over to Seattle more and meet up with those guys.
Yeah, that's the plan too. I need to meet up with them boys, and I also need to get overseas and come out there and start expanding a little bit more than just the United States.
That's
Go see
it, definitely.
some new cultures, some other things. But
Got to be done.
it was, dude, thank you for having me on. It was awesome. Like, I had a lot of fun
Anytime.
doing this. It was a great conversation.
You too, man. Right. Enjoy your
All right,
weekend.
man.
Speak soon.
Thank you, man. Peace out.
Bye.